So we're going to be talking about building brands, making them sustainable, and just how to achieve better sales through branding. I'm in a 9th century castle in France right now, and I didn't even think I'd have Wi-Fi. But anyways, hopefully this goes on. This is going to be a great topic. I am a branding person as well. I've been branding forever. My name's Norm Farrar. This is eComm Weekly. Branding, why is it so important? And what you can do to make sure that you have the best brand possible. Now, but first of all, what isn't a brand? And I think you've got to spend time. You can't spend 2 seconds thinking of a brand. It doesn't work. If you try to do things on the cheap, depending on what you're trying to do to grow your brand, it doesn't work if it's usually your first gut impulse. I usually like to think about, what am I trying to achieve, the demographic, the colors. For example, with some creative things that we do, we use the colors orange and black. Orange is known as a very creative color, so we kind of incorporate it. If anybody knows any of the sites that we've done for our branding, you'll notice that every site we do is orange. The other thing that we want to make sure that we have is you want to make sure that the trademark is available. So if you do need the name, nobody's going to come back and bite you, because it's so important. I've seen this happen 1,000 times, 1,000 times, where you've established a website, you got everything up and going, and then you got a cease and desist order. So you want to make sure that that's clear. So you can go to the US Trademark and Patent Office and just do a test search. You'll see it. It'll just be a trademark search. Once you get that done, the other most important thing that you can do is check out your social media and your domain name. So all of us, for the most part, getting a .com, it's a lottery. If you can get a good .com, go for it. I tell people too, if you can get a good .com at a fairly good price, I'd buy it. But my go-to, for the most part, is I like .clubs. And the reason I like it is, what's a club? It's a community. And around all my brands, every one of my brands, for the most part, are like a candle club, Dead Sea Mud Club. Well, I can put blog articles about, the different products, the different brands. I can be talking about, I can add, the blog articles, the different content on my social media. It's all about the whole community. So building a brand is not just the design, it's not just the website, it's being consistent, and it's building a community. That's probably the most important thing that you can possibly do. If you're just sitting there and you're not building that community, if you're not having that engagement, it's probably not going to work. I know, like, if you ever listen to our podcast, Lunch with Norm, that's exactly what we've done. We get people to become engaged and we build a community. People want to be part of what they like. So if they have questions, or if, for our community, we'll answer questions, we'll have contests. But I know a lot of the people's names directly, community. So one of the other things I tell you to do is make sure you go to a website by the name of Namecheck. And if you can go there, I think it's NAMECHK. Just check it out, type in your name, and you'll see which social media is available. And you can just check it out, see if you can buy it. Like I said, .clubs are good, .co, .coms, but don't go after the crappy ones like XYZ. I could never figure that one out, but I'm not going to buy an XYZ. I want people to know what I'm all about. Now, the other thing about building your brand is understanding your audience. One of the things, I think we have a question. Here we go. Okay, one of the other things about building your brand. Hey, Derek, how are you?
I'm doing well, Norman. Thanks for inviting me on. I just had a quick question about you mentioned about building your brand. Now, how does one get from 0 people to like the first 10 people? I mean, is it like boots on ground? Is it, like aggressive, like for example, like starting a clubhouse? I mean, like for myself, I am an aspiring entrepreneur myself, and getting from like 0 to 10 or 0 to 50 people, like even before actually incorporating, like I think that's something that for me that's always been an interesting question. So if you could shed some light on that, that'd be great.
Yeah, you know what? That's an incredible question, because how do you get those? Like just like selling a product, how do you get those reviews? Well, the first things that you can do. Let's say I have a dog treat dot club. You could start a dog treat dot club, and there'll be that, or maybe a schnauzer club or a bulldog club, and people who have that same sort of liking will start to bring in the community, you bring in experts. I think the first thing that you try to do is become the authority. And there's a really simple formula. Authority equals trust equals sales. And it can start on Clubhouse. It could start with like a better quality press release announcing what you're doing. It could be blog content. It could be on social media. Getting your first few people it's no problem whatsoever. So if you go into a Facebook group, now this is key. You can't go and just be promoting, but you can start a Facebook group and you can invite a few people in, or you can go and you can go into a Facebook group and get, this is very important, get the language or the tone that people are using around your product. There's been a lot of times that I've tried to launch products and I missed out on the tone. I didn't get it, And once I understood that, and when I started targeting or doing posts that made sense to these people, then all of a sudden, now I was starting to build the community. But once you can add value any which way you can, then you're going to start people coming in. Now that could be as simple as putting something onto Facebook, or if you haven't used this, there's an app out there. It's from the founder of Moz, and it's called SparkToro.com. And what it does is you can kind of spy on your competitors, and you can see who their audience is, and you can see if they're targeting that audience, and then you can follow them, or you can invite those people into your community. So you already got the audience. So it's pretty cool what you can do once you got the right tools. And Spark Toro is one tool that you gotta live with. I mean, it just makes your life that much easier. The other part to this is, going back to your demographic. Well, if I was selling, and these are just the stats, if I was selling a product, probably a ladies' product, uh, I would say mid 20s to 45, I'd probably be on Pinterest. And I know Pinterest has the highest average dollar order value. I mean, it's awesome if your product suits that. But if you take that same product and you're targeting, this is just saying, right-wing conservatives that are male, it might not do. So you've really got to just narrow it in. There's so many um, tributaries, that you can go down. So I was selling, you won't believe this, but I was selling this toe fungus remover. And when I first saw it, it was horrible, but the product was really good. And we ended up rebranding the product. So instead of making it look more medicinal, we made it look like a health and beauty product. Instead of focusing on yellow, ugly nails, we focused on beauty. The beautiful nails. Grow your nails, and and we were using greens and blues and whites rather than the box was powder blue, yellow with an ugly toe dripping oil. Wouldn't sell. But the product took off. So I don't know if that helped you out. I mean, there's so much you can do to build your first audience. Um, I mean, it's almost too easy once you start using products like that. And don't forget, we haven't touched on it, but influencers. It's so easy to work with influencers right now. This is a market that's been building and building and building. But to go out to TikTok and to grab an influencer, if you're on Amazon going to live stream, there's a whole section of influencers that can market your product. So once you get to sell their product, I usually put an insert in where they can follow me on different social media. Anyways, that's a quick answer to your question. Oh, and that really wasn't quick though, Derek.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. Okay, it looks like. Oh, no, that's the last question. Okay, so going down that influencer route, now you've got your brand. What do you do? How do you get in contact with influencers? There's a lot of every platform has different ways of contacting influencers. So you might want to go down the Facebook route or the Instagram route. You might want to go to TikTok. And like I said, you can go into TikTok and find influencers. They have a platform or a program, which is really cool, called TikTok Creator. It's the simplest, easiest interface that you can use. You type in the keywords and it will show you a whole bunch of influencers. You can also just go onto Google. And when you go to Google, you can just type in uh, for pets. It could be dog influencer, or pet influencer, cat influencer, or pet influencer, small dogs or bulldogs, or whatever, how specific you want to be. For natural treats, you can get into keywords. And all of a sudden, you'll have a ton of different influencers that you can target. Now, I wouldn't jump on the first influencer that comes up. You want to make sure that your personalities match. So if you can, take a look at what they're saying, what they're doing, maybe liking or commenting on some of their posts. That's a great first step. If you see that they're bringing out some really great content, you like it, and you see what they're doing, then approach them and just say, DM them and just say that you like what you see. Give them some compliments. Don't make it sound, and I've seen this happen, where people have approached influencers, but it's about them. They make everything about them. Well, the influencer doesn't care. They don't want to hear about how good you are. They want to really work with you and to build up this product. So if you're too aggressive, it might not happen. Now the other thing is the compensation. So let's say you go to TikTok. There's various ways um, that people can get paid. You can get paid on a flat fee, but right now, and I'm going to say this about Amazon. So right now, if you're selling things on Amazon, they've got this program. It's called the brand referral program, and that'll give sellers 10% credit on the referral fee. So what I do with that, and what we've started to do just in the last month or two, is to say to the influencer, here's a flat fee. Now, if you like the product and you really want to push it, we're going to give you a 10% commission on that. So now what they're doing is they're making money ongoing by selling the product. We don't care how many they sell. We don't care how much they make. That 10% fee is going back to them. And I don't want to complicate this, but if you're taking part in this brand attribution program that Amazon has, you'll be able to track everything from your referral program. So you'll know whether the influencer is doing any good or not. But at that point, really don't care because they're just making money on on the sales. So I try to go with good quality, something that suits my personality, but have very few followers. It could have 500, could have 1,000. Anything more, for me anyways, than 10,000 units, especially, well, actually on TikTok, I on the other platforms, it would probably be as high as 10,000, but TikTok, you can probably go as high as 50,000 because followers, there's just a crazy amount of followers, but you want to keep it low. If you start to see that there's a lot more followers, the engagement falls off. And that's usually will affect you and the influencer as well. But these smaller influencers, if they like your product, they go up to bat for you. And not only when they're pitching, either on an image or a video, or they're producing some content for you. Well, what they're doing is they're probably doing a lot of free work for you because they love your product. If they're passionate about your product, you turn that influencer into a brand ambassador. And that's a whole other thing. And I'll get into brand ambassador in a second, but going back to those influencers, if you can start getting the influencer to love your product, well, what happens on that second, third, fourth product at launch that you want to come out? Let's say you're selling soap. Let's say you're bringing out bar soap, then liquid soap, then bath bombs. You've already got an army of influencers that are going to help you promote the product. And the other thing, so I'm at a conference here in France right now with a guy who, over the last year-ish, about a year and a half, he has 7,000 images and videos that influencers have done for him. Almost all, he was able to pick up very inexpensive influencers, converted about 20 or 30 into brand ambassadors. So here's the difference. Most of the images that are coming through an insert card from his product, from brand ambassadors, and he's paid very little in influencers. The amount that advertising and marketing he would have spent, he just broke it all down. I know the guy personally, I've worked with him for years. He would have paid $700,000 worth of marketing. And if you take a look at his products and his like the images, the content, he dominates Google. When you type in his product line or his product, his keywords, not only does he take up the first space, but he takes up about 4 or 5 other spaces because this is coming from blog articles and images coming in from the influencers. Now, here's the difference between the influencer and the brand ambassador. I target repeat customers. So if somebody likes my brand and they've bought it twice, I am going to be targeting them with an email or trying to reach out to them. We actually use a chat bot, but just to get in front of their face and see if they want to be part of a brand ambassador program. Usually that's a paid position, but for us, we just say, look, you can get 50% off. You have to buy 3 times a year. And we give them 3 or 4 tasks that they have to do. They have to provide X number of images or videos or written content. They sign up for it, and there it is. It's ours for free. We are getting sales, which still looks good. They're providing us with free content. We end up with 20, 30, 40 of these, they're called nano influencers. And we've got all the content you can possibly think of. I mean, you really just couldn't publish that amount of content on a daily basis. It's just coming in too quick. So I don't know, like when you're thinking about brand, influencers a lot of the time, don't come into the picture. So on my podcast, I've interviewed one of the ladies who came out with Snow. I don't know if you know Snow whitening strips and lip balm. Well, the first thing that she did is anybody could have come up with whitening strips and lip balm. You think of chapsticks or you think of a brand like that. She decided that she was going to come up with a unique brand and a unique package. The packaging was impeccable. There's nothing like it on the market. And what she said is she said, I wanted to provide something like an iPhone experience, that anticipation when you open up the box. And, you know, it's a gift that keeps on giving, because not only was you get the little kit, then you get the applicator. The applicator was really cool. Anyways, it was part of a community that you wanted to be part of. Well, guess what they did? They had to, I couldn't do this. They went and they got Gronk, they got Conor McGregor, they got a whole bunch of high-end influencers, and they ended up over a few years selling Snow, that was the name of the company, for over $100 million. And they didn't do any other form of marketing, which is crazy. I know another guy, Joe Martin, and he had, and some of you may know this, BoxyCharm, an incredible premium cosmetic product that he was marketing through influencers and high-end influencers. I believe, I don't know if they were approached first, but anyways, the Kardashians got the hold of them. They loved the product, and he just sold his business for $500 million. It's a subscription box business. Now, that's probably something I could not finance, but I'll take my nano influencers anywhere, anytime. The next bracket up is called a micro influencer, and they're good too. But I like nano influencers because they're marketing out to friends, family, friends of friends, you know. So you've got this trust already built into the influencer. Okay, so does anybody have any questions? I'm just seeing, it doesn't look like it. Okay, I'm just going to continue on here. Where to get started? Probably the best thing to do. So my son does all of our social media. The first thing I would be, well, after you get your name and your domain, but you want to make sure that you look professional. If you're going on to Walmart, Shopify, or Amazon, you want to make sure that your listing is a high quality listing. You want to make sure that the perceived value of your brand is there. Now, this is really important for the people that are remaining on here. There's three levels of perception on Amazon. You've got the first tier, the second tier, third tier. The first tier, and I'm going to use Dead Sea Mud as an example. So Dead Sea Mud, if you search it right now, you'll see that it ranges from around $6.95 to $14.95 for around an 8-inch jar. That's a joke. I don't want to move volume. You can't make money that way. The second tier is around $29 to around $44. Now that's a much better area to be in, and they range from 8 ounce to 16 ounce. And you can make some money there, lower traffic, but you can still make money. The highest price, the tier one, just better packaging, and they range from 70 some odd dollars to $95. And the $95 one, at least a few weeks ago, was only 3.5 ounces. Now, if I can package that and I can have all my templates around the color scheme of that $95 one, now I'm building a brand, and I'm not building a brand on the cheap. I'm spending a few extra bucks to get high quality artwork. On your social media, you're getting templates. You're getting a good, now, I'm an old guy. I'm not that great with social media, but my son is. So I got him to do all these templates for a lot of our products, and they look good. When you go to any of my either brands or to the podcast, you'll see that it's all templated, and people know what to expect. The content, it's high quality content. When you go to the website, there are 1,500 words to 2,500 words of high quality content. We just don't post anything. And if you're looking for content, by the way, just give you a couple of apps that you can, very inexpensive apps that you can use. One is called Phrase, and that's frase.io. and the other one is called Jasper. And I kind of use them both together. Some have better features. And this is how I can find different content, because it'll tell you what people are talking about based on your keyword. And then you can send it to a writer if you're not a great writer. I'm not a great writer, so I have just people rewrite a summarized what the top content is. I just send it to them. They send it back to me, and then we post it. So if there's no other questions, I think that's about it. We're just about ready to go to dinner here. This has been a really unusual clubhouse room. Um, I thought I'd have some help here, but I'm on my own. Anyways, it was really nice of everybody who was attending. As for our room, eCommerce Weekly, we're here every Thursday at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Really appreciate you all coming on and being part of the community. And if you have any questions, you can always DM me. All right, we'll see everybody later.